I have the deepest hatred for humanity. I have a hatred for the human race that goes deeper than I think anyone else's hatred for humanity. And I think I'm completely justified in having such hatred. And before you click off of the video because you think this is just some rant, I want to tell a story about someone. I want to reveal to the public the story about someone who was ignored, who was denied, who was silenced, and this video will be extremely dark. It's in fact so dark and so disturbing that the last two channels I had were taken down. The videos were taken down, and then both YouTube channels were taken down because this particular video that I'm making again for the third time was so dark. People couldn't handle it, so they reported the video. People just don't want to face reality. They don't want to face the truth. Someone could be getting murdered, put on a cross, nailed to a cross, and people will do nothing. They'll just stand by and watch. They'll tell themselves, "I didn't see that. That didn't happen." Maybe the person that this is happening to is bad, but if something awful were happening to a toddler, if a toddler were being held down and had their arms and legs being cut open with a kitchen knife, would you say perhaps the toddler did something really bad? They deserved it. I don't think so. I don't think you would agree with such a scenario. I don't think you would agree that the child would be deserving of that. If such a scenario were to occur. And so that's sort of what this video revolves around: the ignoring and ignorance of people towards evil and bad things going on in the world. And this video was inspired in part by Yuval Noah Harari and some articles, some news articles I read about some disturbing things that I won't mention for particular reasons. But I'm going to get right into the story of Sky. The person in this photo here is named Sky, and she was born, I believe, in 2000 or 2003, something like that. She was born around the same time I was, and I met Sky about 3 years ago, and she, at the time that I met her, she was doing lots of drugs and alcohol, and very self-destructive behavior. And we got to talking, quite a lot about our lives together, and she told me her whole life story, and it moved me. It was quite tragic, poetic, very what's the word? Eye-opening. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. It was a very eye-opening story she told me, and she showed me the proof. So I know that it's quite true. As hard as it is to believe, at the time, I didn't want to believe it. I thought that maybe she was lying. But that's because I was trying to deny reality, like most other people, except I was willing to entertain what she had to say. But you see, when she was born, she had a mother and father, as most people do, and her parents drank a lot. Her mother drank a lot. Her father drank and did hard drugs, and her father was a bit of a sociopath, and he would steal and get involved in gang activity, from what she told me. And her father was I guess you could say, a bit of a psychopath, because he would beat her up when she was very young. I think since she was a toddler, she was malnourished, starved. She wouldn't eat much at all. So her family members would give her very little food, so she was always hungry, and since she was little, I believe that she would steal from stores in order to get food because her parents wouldn't feed her, and she would always get beat by her father. Her mother was verbally abusive, but I don't think her mother was physically abusive. But the father was, as well as being sexually abusive. He would typically punch her and kick her while she was like on the ground, or in her bed, things like that. And he would also sometimes rape her, for no reason at all. And he would do all sorts of things, throw things at her, or cut her with a knife, or burn her hand or something like that on a stove, things like that. He was just a typical psychopath, a typical psychopathic, sociopathic parent, and he would rape her quite often. I think from what she said, he would rape her usually like at least once a week. Once she got to a certain age. I can't say because of YouTube's guidelines, but when she was quite, let's say, short, she that's when she started getting raped, I believe. And eventually, she when she started going to school, because she looked poor, and because she was quiet, and had PTSD already when she first started going to like kindergarten and first, second grade, all that. She didn't really have any friends. She couldn't make friends because she was very quiet, and she had just a fear of people, I suppose. So she would get bullied also for being poor, for always coming into school with little clothing, dirty clothes, and so she always lived in a very neglectful household. They never really bought her anything, not food, not clothes, not furniture, not anything really. And so all she really had in her room was like a mattress, a dresser maybe, and a couple pairs of clothes. I think from what she said, she just had a mattress on the floor, and a couple dirty clothes she would use for blankets. I can't remember, but she tried to speak up. She tried to tell teachers, I believe, or some people, and they didn't believe her from what I was told. And this was the same with a more recent partner of mine that told me that her father would rape her, and the police didn't believe her, and so they sent her on her way. So this is quite common: the denial of evil, the denial of abuse. And that's part of the reason why I put Adam Lanza's photo up as the video title photo, whatever you refer to it as, because he was neglected to some degree by his mother, and he felt abused by society and by his family, even though he wasn't really abused by his parents, but he felt that way. And so, that there's a lot to that. It's complicated, but that's why I used his photo there. And it would gain more attention. It would get me more viewers, on this video, opposed to me using a photo of Sky here. It wouldn't get many views. So I had to pick an alarming and intriguing photo that would draw people in, and I knew Adam Lanza's photo would do that. But going back to Sky, wasn't believed. Nobody would listen to her, and eventually, at one point, I think after her father raped her, and she was upset, and fighting him, he kicked her because she did something he didn't like. I mean, what could that be? She would just sit in her room all day, and slit her wrists, and drink alcohol if she could find any. She started drinking and doing drugs when she was I think in first, second grade, third grade, something like that, from what she told me, and so she would always be in her room. But I believe that she did something the psychopath father of hers didn't like, and so he decided to kick her several times, until she had I believe a broken rib. And so he took her to the hospital, and he lied to the doctors and said that she like fell and broke her rib, or she was playing a sport and broke her rib. He lied, made something up, and the doctors believed it, and he threatened to rape her. It's not like he didn't do that very often anyway, but I believe he threatened to like rape and kill her if she told the doctors that she was being abused. So she kept silent, and she had been raped since she was because of YouTube's guidelines, I can't say how old, but since she was quite short, since she was quite a short person, if you know what I mean. So she was kind of used to that. It was not really anything new to her, but he would threaten to kill her if she spoke up to anybody. So she kept quiet about that. She kind of she got used to the rape eventually, almost. I mean, it would always upset her, and she'd go and do drugs after getting raped by her father, but she just kind of put up with it, unfortunately. But eventually her father was shot and killed by I believe a gang member or someone on the streets. I don't know what for, but I'd assume the father was trying to steal something, or it was a drug deal that went wrong, and so he was shot and killed. And so she lived with her mom, and her mom would drink a lot. I don't know what happened to the mom. I think the mom, killed herself. I can't remember what happened to her mom, but her mom was around, but her mom would just drink a lot and would ignore the rape and the beatings, the verbal abuse. The mom would just sort of ignore it, and the mom would just drink a lot, from what Sky told me. I don't know what much about the mom, but Sky, she her mom, something happened with her mother, and then I believe the father died before something happened to her mom, but eventually she moved in with her sister, or her sister took over the household. I don't know what went on with her sister, but her sister had a boyfriend, and he was fat and ugly, from what she said, and Sky's sister's boyfriend would rape her here and there, and he would give her cigarette burns. He would like um, burn out a cigarette on her skin, or he would punch her here and there. He would molest and rape her sometimes without her consent. So this would happen on and off, and that was around the time that I met her, and that was when she was getting a lot more into like slitting her wrists and stuff, and doing a lot more drugs. She would mix drugs here and there, and her life was getting really out of control, and that's when I started talking to her, and I told her to leave her sister's house, don't come back. I told her to stay with a friend, go anywhere else that she could think of to go. And it's because of, and I'll leave it there. I'll leave the story to do with Sky there. I haven't talked to her for a long time, so I don't know if she's alive or not. I don't know what happened to her. But the story, it was one of the first ones that I had heard about that was very grotesque, that was very disturbing, that I didn't believe. There were a lot of crazy things that I had heard about, encountered, that I believed. But this is one of the few things at the time I didn't believe, because it sounded so insane to me. I had never imagined, such people were that way. I didn't know. But as you get older and you learn about the world more, you come to realize that such things are possible, that such evil people exist, and that such people, are so victimized. It's incredible, but this is the truth. This is reality. And so I'm hoping that anybody that listened to this video, I hope that you accept what I've told you. You don't have to believe it, but I just ask that you don't get offended by the video because it's dark. You don't try to get it taken down because you don't like what I've had to say. I get it, it's a disturbing topic, but I felt the need to tell her story because it taught me a lot about humanity. It taught me a lot about what I need to know about the world and about people, and that you really can't trust anybody. The person that's your friend, family member, your neighbor, a stranger walking by you, an acquaintance, that they could be just like Sky's father, or even worse, though that may be hard to believe. And so you have to be very cautious. You have to be always armed and armored, ready for anything, because there are so many people in the world that are just like Sky's father and Sky's sister's boyfriend. You don't know. You don't know what kind of person someone sitting next to you is. You never really know who somebody is. And so you always have to keep a lookout. Keep a lookout for the behaviors of others. They might be an abuse victim. Watch out for people. Always have guns, knives, body armor on you. Like me, you always want to be prepared for unforeseen events that might occur. Crazy things can always happen that you typically will never imagine, never see coming. So yeah. But anyway, I don't know. That's all I have to say in this video. I might make a part two and talk a little more about Sky. Maybe not. I don't know. You let me know in the comment section down below. But as I always say, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my other videos. I have some great content. I have content. I have videos on any topic you can think of. There's a video out there that I made for everyone. So check those videos out, and see you in the next one.